Hello and welcome to the Retro Shed again. I've had a bit of a hiatus for the past week. I've had my second man cold of the winter and I couldn't talk properly, so not doing too bad today. So I thought I'd show you this because a couple of weeks ago I did a bit of a clear out in here and I was sorting through a bunch of old joysticks and controllers, of which we have many. Now, as we've got so many different consoles, so many different computers, I've got joysticks and controllers everywhere, and this I happened to find in one of the joystick boxes, and I thought, wow, I have not seen that for many years. This is a Jakks Pacific Namco TV all-in-one game joystick thingy, whatever you want to call it, and it was bought for me by my wife in, I think it was around 2006. It was a stocking filler. It was about £30, I think. She probably got it from Amazon. And it's this joystick, this all-in-one Namco joystick, that really got Josh into playing retro games. Now, this all-in-one comes with 5 games, and these are PacMan, Galaxian, Rally X, Dig Dug and Boss Kony, which are all absolutely brilliant games back in the day. This thing was launched, I think, in 2003. Yeah, 2003 by Jakks Pacific, and it's alright. It's quite well built. As you can see, it's lasted. It's alright. It's not falling apart. It's got some good artwork on it. You've got Bosconian Galaxians on one side, and on the other, I think it's got, on the other side, it's got Dig Dug and PacMan. Now, it's battery powered. It's got some AAs in it. And inside this little box are a couple of custom chips. It's got a 4-way micro switched joystick, only 4-way, not 8-way, and we'll talk a bit more about that later. It's got 2 custom chips in it, and I don't know what they are. They're covered in resin. I've seen inside one before. There's not a lot in them, actually. And it has 5 games on it, so I thought we'd take a look at these games and see how they actually compare to their Big Brother arcade counterparts. Connectivity is provided by one composite video out and one audio channel out. That is it. You can plug it into literally anything. And it just works. It's quite good. Batteries last quite a while, actually. I did have to take the batteries out of this one and clean the battery box up because the Duracells that had been in there for the past few years had leaked a bit, but no damage done, luckily. It's okay, it's good to go. So let's take a look at it, shall we? Right, switching this thing on gives you a registered trademark screen, and then it goes into this colourful menu here, which you choose by using the up and down. So let's kick off with PacMan. Everyone knows PacMan. So somehow the music sounds flatter. It doesn't sound quite as good as the arcade machine as I remember. We'll have a look at the arcade version in a minute. It looks quite good though. It looks authentic. Scores were at the top of the screen on the arcade version, as I recall. It doesn't sound quite right to me. Plays okay. It's quite responsive. I remember my wife playing this and saying that PacMan wouldn't go where she wanted him to go, which is usually the complaint of people that don't play a lot of games on joystick. She did say he doesn't go where I want him to go. Yeah, the sound's not quite right, is it? So straight away you can see and hear that the arcade machine is a lot faster, and it's just got those lovely sounds. Yeah, it's fast. It's really fast. I don't remember PacMan being this fast. Yeah, so yeah, much better, much better. Right, next up, it's a personal favourite of mine. I spent a lot of money on this arcade machine when I was a kid. This is Galaxians, and Oh dear. So, it looks like Galaxians. Again, the score is on the right-hand side of the screen instead of the top. But it sounds awful compared to the original, doesn't it? Look, that noise is gone. There's normally a noise in the background. I can't describe it. Yeah, sound is awful. Controls are good, it's responsive, fires fine, it plays well. Starfield doesn't look the same. Okay, let's have a look at its big brother, shall we, on the arcade machine. So yeah, completely different. You've got the multicoloured Starfield. You've got the multicoloured Starfield. You've got that lovely noise. That noise. I don't know quite what you call it. I used to play this so much when I was a kid. In one of our local arcades, I used to pull up a stool. And I used to sit on a stool for ages and ages playing this. That firing noise is a lot better as well, isn't it? I could be on this for hours. Just so good. Right, Rally X. Now, I didn't play this much in the arcade. I did have a version of it on the VIC-20 though, which was called Radar Rat Race, and instead of cars, you're a bunch of rats. Quite an enjoyable little game, this. So, if you remember this, you're the car, you go around the maze picking up flags, and you can drop smoke to put the other cars off your scent, and like that, and all they do is crash into you. Their job is to try and crash into you. So this little joystick has only single channel sound. Whoops. It's only got a single channel sound, and it sounds pretty flat, doesn't it, compared to the original? Completely different music, isn't it? Oh, it looks like I'm out of fuel. Right, coming up next, Dig Dug. Now this happens to be one of my favourite arcade games, and me and Josh played this to death. So it looks okay. I'd say with all the games on this little box, they are definitely lacking in the sound department. I love Dig Dug. I've got to admit I prefer Mr. Do. Mr. Do's got a lot more going on than Dig Dug, but Dig Dug is still a cracking game. Yeah, the music sounds pretty poor, doesn't it? Visuals are quite good. So of course the last enemy always runs to the surface, so you've got to be ready and waiting for them. Yeah, see, the music is just brilliant. You can't beat the arcade sounds, can you? although it looks very, very similar to the Namco Joystick, it sounds very different. Yeah. So, sounds better, looks better, it's smoother. Yeah, really, really like this game. Now, Boss Kony, and this was, again, another one of my favourite games in the arcades. Boss Kony in the arcade is 8-way, so you can travel direction in a diagonal direction. On this, you can't. You can only go up, down, left, and right. So it'd be interesting to see the differences. But I do like a good space shooter, and this one's pretty good. Doesn't sound very good, does it? But it plays okay. Let's go and have a look at the arcade version. So of course you've got rudimentary speech on the arcade version, and you can fly and shoot in 8 directions. You can go diagonally. So again, sounds a lot better. So it's tougher, it's harder, it's faster, and it's good. So yes, much different from the little joystick. Right, that was a quick look at the Namco Joystick. What do I think of it? Well, for £30, I think it's okay. It gave us many hours of fun. It got Josh into playing retro games. It gave him a love of these old games. And when you look at it, when you sit and take it for what it is, it's okay. However, when you really dig deep, and if you want the authentic arcade experience, you're not really going to get it from this little box. I don't know, perhaps I'm being a bit hard on it, but there was nothing like the experience you got when going into an arcade. The sounds alone, you know, the darkness, the sounds, the deepness, it was all an absolutely brilliant experience, and you're not going to get that from this. You're going to get versions of these games that are playable, they're okay, they're not bad for nostalgic reasons, but really, you know, when this thing was released in 2003, could they have not emulated the original arcade ROM sets? But on the whole, it's a great little box. I did enjoy playing it, and you know, it's got I've got a soft spot for this little joystick. It's quite good, and there are many different other types as well. There are other types of this joystick around. Some Namco ones, some Atari ones. There's loads of them around. I'm glad I was bought it. That's all I can say. I was glad I was bought it. But if you want the original experience, I don't think you're ever going to beat the original arcade machine. Nothing can take away the original arcade machine experience. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that little look at the Namco 5-in-1 arcade stick, and we'll catch you again soon. So take care. Bye bye.